Yo, yo, YouTube! It is Monday, the 25th of September. It's been quite a bad day on the CX for me today, so I'll tell you about it. I'm hoping to get a job still if I can, but it's looking really unlikely that anything suitable will come up for me at the moment. So it's 10 to 6 at the moment. I'll tell you what I've done so far. As I said, it's not been great. So when I woke up this morning, I hadn't got a job booked in for this morning. So I was looking for work, and I tend to find that my area at home isn't that busy for drivers. It's probably in the region of 20 to 30 drivers within about 20 miles of me. So not very many really. And so by the time the jobs have come and gone, there's usually something that I can get at a reasonable price most days, even if I haven't got it booked in the morning. And that's what happened today. So I looked from about 8 o'clock, bid on a few things, but didn't get anything. And then I got a job about 9:30 going from Spalding to Royston. And that job was for a small van. It was going 64 miles. Let's double check that. No, 67 miles. And I bid £65. And I got that job, and I made my way over to that pickup, and I arrived to pick up two. Oh, actually, yeah. When I first arrived, I went to the wrong site of this big place. It was the other side, it was a different road. I then went to the shop part, which was the wrong place. I then went to the factory part of the right place, but that was the wrong place for me to go to. They wanted me to go to the office part of the factory part. So I ended up spending 10 minutes trying to find the right place by the time I got there. And all it was in the end was a couple of bags to take. So a small van job. And I got there eventually and got the bags on, got it all signed, and was off site by 10 o'clock. And on my way down to Royston, I got to within about half an hour, and then I thought I would look at other jobs around. And there was actually another job from Royston going to Bracknell. And I thought I'd pick up that job. I should be, and it was just pick up at 10 to 12, so 11:50. So I had a good half an hour available to get after I drop off, to get to the pickup. So I bid on it, and I bid for 76 miles for a small van job. I bid £70. And I got that. And I explained to the shipper that I was on my way to offload my current job, and then when I'd done that, I go over and pick up their load. And I'd be there plenty of time. So I carried on with my job, and eventually found the drop-off place. It wasn't obvious where I meant to go. I had to turn around on the main road to go back. And I parked up, I went to the office, and there was a guy in the office on the phone. And once I realised he was on his own and there was no one else there, I just waited patiently for him to finish. And he was getting really irate with the guy on the other end of the phone. He was obviously in quite a stressful phone call. I stood there and waited. Eventually, about 10 minutes down the line, he finished his phone call, and then I told him what I was there for, and he said I had to go to a different part of the site, just park the van to a different part of the site on a weighbridge. But I was then behind two drivers that had come in and worked for the company that got priority over me. So anyway, the point is, by the time I'd finished, I was off site at 2. No, I was off site at 11:40, and I was actually 15 minutes away from the other Royston. pickup. So I was going to be a few minutes late. So I got there as soon as I could, and I arrived, found it alright, but they were not bothered about the timings. They weren't expecting me. They didn't have the stuff ready when I got there, so me being a bit late didn't have any impact on that side of things. So when I arrived, I explained to them what I was there for, and they were trying to sort it out. And I explained to the shipper that I was still waiting for them to sort it out because there was some confusion about what I was collecting. There was no paperwork with it at all. But eventually the sort of boss guy came out and sorted it out and gave me the 2 items I was meant to have. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about this job, it relates to a previous thing I said about communication. And I think it's important that I reiterate this as an example of what I mean by that. So the notes that the shipper had given me on the CX weren't that clear about what I was meant to be picking up, and I thought I might need something else other than the 2 items I was given. But I thought the person loading me, who's the boss of the company, he knew what he was doing. So what I did was I took a photo of my load, which was strapped up, put it onto the CX booking, uploaded it. I then called the shipper and said to them, I've got the load that was given to me. Can you just send the photo to your customer and just double check it's what they're expecting to receive? And so I left that with the shipper. I was thinking it's probably highly likely that I've got the right items. So rather than me sitting here doing nothing, I will just make my way slowly towards my drop-off location. So it's a good 2 hours away, no, hour and a quarter away. So I'll make a move, but I won't go very quickly. If it was more likely than not that I'd got the wrong items, or I felt that it was wrong, I would have stayed where I was and waited for the confirmation. But in this case, about 10 minutes later, I got a phone call, and the shipper confirmed I had got the correct items according to their customer. So happy days. Everyone now knew what to expect. There's a photo, and the shipper knew, the customer knew, obviously the person who gave it to me knew, and I knew. So everyone in the chain was communicating with the items I was going to take. So I thought that was a good thing. So then I made my way towards Bracknell. Got myself there and offloaded. Oh yeah, when I got there, I was going to a construction site. It wasn't obvious where it was because the building was almost finished, but they were doing the interiors. So I eventually did find the site office, and eventually did get them to agree that I've got some stuff for them, they can have it. What I found is with construction sites, they don't tend to be too bothered about where the stuff goes. I've happened twice now. I've been said just dump it down there, mate. I've been told. There's no paperwork other than what I create, so I just make sure I take a photo of where it is, I get to sign my paperwork, and I tell them as I go where it's left. Because often the workers don't really care, and there's some people that obviously they don't particularly care. So I did my job, but no one seemed to be bothered about checking it or seeing where it was. So I'd finished that at 35 minutes past 2, and I was now in Bracknell looking for my third job of the day. Oh, I haven't told you the price of the right. Oh, I have, yes. So 70 and 65. So £135 so far, effectively to go from Spalding to Bracknell with a bit of a delay in the middle. So far so good. I then was looking for jobs, and I put a load of bids on when I was sitting in Bracknell, and nothing came up until, well, I had about 5 quotes in, and then I had a phone call from one, and it was the one that I bid on the least amount for. It was going from Wallingford, which is about 45 minutes from where I was, going to Towcester, and I put a bit of £50 on for a 44-mile job. And the reason why I took the job was because they wanted it to be delivered tomorrow morning, which wasn't ideal, and it was a small van job. And and I said to myself, if I get offered this job, I'll ask them if I can co-load it with doing another job tonight or even tomorrow morning to make up the money. And I won't accept it unless I get that permission. And it's with a shipper I've worked with before, and I do like them. They tend to specialise in smaller items. And I got a call, and I spoke to the guy, and I said what the situation was, and he said it's absolutely fine with me doing another load. There's no problem at all. So I accepted that, and I made my way straight away to Wallingford to pick up the load. So my key thing was to get there as soon as I could, pick up the load, and then look for jobs from Wallingford to see what was available. So I got across, got it all loaded up, created my own pod again, took a photo, and was finished at 4:05. So I had a good hour or so to try and find any sort of suitable job. But it wasn't really very busy, and nothing really came up. I've been on a few things, but didn't get anything. Oh, the other reason why I I was happy to get the job to Toaster was it got me away from the sort of London area, out of there, more towards the East Midlands, sort of Northampton area. So there was another reason for taking that job. At that time. But I was hoping to get a fourth job either tonight or tomorrow morning. Because 10:30 delivery tomorrow morning gives you plenty of time to do something tomorrow. But nothing has come up. So really the day has turned out to be not very successful. I'm going to give you my stats based on what I've done so far, which is just the 2 jobs. It isn't going to look very good. And I've got a late delivery tomorrow, but I might get a job tonight. I might get something in the morning to sort of supplement it. But if I don't, it's been quite a poor day overall. So I'm going to pull over here, and I'm going to give you my stats for today, and then probably bring this video to a close. So today, 2 CX jobs that will be finished today, and 1 that will be finished tomorrow. So once I'm now on my way to tramp out near my drop-off location for tomorrow. So once I've stopped working for today, my figures will be as follows. I will have worked for 9.5 hours. I will have driven. No, that's not right. Sorry. I will have worked for 8 hours. Sorry. And I will have driven 239 miles. And I'm basing the cost of diesel as being last week's average. It will be going up this week, so this is going to be at least this. It's 16.49 pence per mile. So therefore, I've spent £39.41 on fuel today. I've just done the 2 jobs, the £60 from Spalding to Royston, and £65 from Spalding to Royston, and £70 from Royston to Bracknell, and then the £50 I'm doing from Wallingford to Toaster will be on tomorrow's figures. So based on that, I've earned £135 today, and that means after fuel I've earned £96. So not a good day at all. So, is there anything else I want to talk about? I'm going to go back, I think, to doing my videos on the move. I do prefer it. I don't want to just being stuck, having to stop and do a video. So I've got the microphone working at the moment. It's a bit hit and miss. I'll just have to see if it's acceptable. I think if when I'm driving today it hasn't been, you can't hear it, I probably can't do very much about that, I'm afraid. I think it depends on the device you're listening to this on, and I've worked out that I can't please everybody, unfortunately. What I will do when I've got some more money is I will get a different phone and a different microphone set up, but at the moment I can't afford to do that, so I'm going to stick with my old iPhone and this cheap microphone. Right, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for listening. It's quite a short one today, and I will see you, or you'll hear me tomorrow. Good night. What have you learnt today?